As the head of the state's executive branch, the governor of California has broad powers that are outlined in the California Constitution. These powers enable the state to independently make decisions on many of its domestic matters. Number 1. Legislative veto. The governor has the power to veto any bill passed by the state legislature. This is one of the governor's most powerful tools for influencing the legislative process. If the governor vetoes a bill, the legislature must obtain a 2/3 majority in both houses, Senate and Assembly, to enact it. In addition, the governor of California also has the power of a line-item veto, which allows him to remove specific sections of budget bills without rejecting the entire bill. Number 2. Commander-in-Chief of the State National Guard. The governor is the commander-in-chief of the California National Guard. This means that in state emergencies such as civil unrest, natural disasters, earthquakes, floods, fires, and other crises, the governor can order the deployment and use of National Guard troops within the state's borders. This authority remains in effect until the National Guard is called into federal service by the president. Number 3. Appointments of state officials. The governor is responsible for appointing many key officials in the state's executive and judicial branches. This includes the heads of state agencies and departments, members of various boards and commissions, as well as judges of the Supreme, Appellate, and District Courts when these positions become vacant. These appointments usually require the approval of the state Senate and allow the governor to implement his policies through aligned administrators and judges. Number 4. Presenting the annual budget and state of the state message. The governor is required to submit a state budget bill to the legislature each year. This bill, which outlines the government's fiscal outlook and priorities, is the starting point for negotiations to pass the final budget. In addition, the governor delivers an annual State of the State address, in which he or she outlines the achievements, challenges, and future plans of his or her administration to lawmakers and the public. Number 5. Pardon and commuting powers. The governor has the authority to pardon, commute, or postpone the sentences of criminals convicted under state law. These powers include full pardons, which expunge a conviction, reduced prison terms, and deferred executions, particularly in capital cases. However, in cases where a person has been convicted of 2 or more serious crimes, a pardon requires the approval of a majority of the state Supreme Court justices. The California National Guard operates under a unique dual command structure, with the governor of California normally leading the force, but under special circumstances. The President of the United States can federalize and assume command of the force. Normally, and under state law, the Governor of California, currently Gavin Newsome, is the Commander-in-Chief of the California National Guard. This means that for state missions, including responding to natural disasters such as earthquakes and wildfires, responding to civil unrest, and other statewide emergencies, the National Guard operates under the direct command of the governor. However, the Constitution and federal laws of the United States grant the President the authority to call up and place under his control state National Guard forces for federal missions. This move, known as federalization, transfers command of the National Guard from the governor to the President, and the force operates as part of the U.S. military. Recent example. The Los Angeles standoff. A prime example of this duality of command was the recent events in Los Angeles in June 2025. Following protests over immigration policies, President Donald Trump, invoking his federal authority, deployed part of the California National Guard to Los Angeles to control the situation without the consent and even against Governor Newsome. The move led to legal and political tension between the California state government and the federal government, and Governor Newsome filed a lawsuit challenging the president's action. This incident clearly shows that although under normal circumstances and for the internal affairs of the state, the governor is the leader of the National Guard. The president has the power to remove these forces from state control and assume command of them himself when he deems it necessary for national security or to enforce federal laws.